Welcome back to Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. It's Wednesday, and that means we have our plant and garden expert, Craig Sept, joining us in studio, taking your plant and garden questions through the WQAD Facebook page on the Facebook Live right there. I wanted to start with this because fall, of course, right around the corner, feels a lot like that out there today. What are some tips you have for us to get our yards ready?
Well, it's a little early for putting down our fall fertilizer. That's actually over a month away. We could still be watering. I know this last rain only gave me 0.53 inches over in Rock Island. So we could go out and we could start doing some watering. We've got some catch up to get done. It's a little early to start cleaning off those perennial beds. We've got a few weeks of food manufacturing to our plants before they have to come in. But the house plants that we've got outside, start going over them and make sure you've gotten all the insects killed before you bring them back in the house.
Yeah, that would be, that's pretty good advice right there, Craig. And then we have Dawn, who asked, when is a good time to plant grapevines?
Grapevines, now would be a great time if you can still find them. Just remember, it's like anything else, you know, we get them in the ground, get that root stimulator on them, mulch them. This time of the year, when you're planting, you should mulch fairly heavily so that the ground cools down as slowly as possible when the weather finally gets cold, so the roots can keep growing for as long into the fall as possible.
You know, you had mentioned before you bring in those plants from outside. Chad asking, what is the best stuff that you should be using for bugs before you do bring in those plants?
Okay, I've got three go-tos. The first is the insecticidal soap. That should take down just about any insect that you've got. If not that, then you use the all-season oil spray, and we do need to use that outside because it can stain carpeting and furniture. Once the plants are dry, they can be brought in the house. And then, of course, the systemic granular that you put on the soil that will come up through the interior of the plant and take out any insects that you might have missed.
Alrighty, and then Jenny asked, is it too late to spray Creeping Charlie?
Oh no, this is the perfect time to go ahead and spray Creeping Charlie. It was too hot just a very few days ago. We don't spray when it's above 80 degrees, but now that it's cooled down, the Creeping Charlie will absorb the chemicals that you put on it, and it'll get down into the root system and take it out. This is probably even better than in the spring for controlling Creeping Charlie.
Jim and Jen asked, and they may have missed your answer a couple of weeks ago. They had asked for a great smelling bush for our zone. What are some of those that they could be picking out?
Well, there's the Seven Brothers shrub. There is the mock orange that has really, really good fragrance. Roses. I've been noticing as I walk past the rose patch that, you know, if you're a little downwind, it is absolutely heavenly when you get the scent of roses.
Alrighty, and AJ asked, when is the time to transplant a silver maple sapling? Do I need to let it freeze?
Actually, if you're going to do it, I would do it more toward the mid or late part of this month, and again, get it out of the ground, back in the ground, or you could wait until next spring. The problem there is that we never know what our weather is going to be like in the spring. If we had a wet spring, you'd just be playing in the mud. So let the tree start to defoliate before you do that transplanting.
Okay. Steve is asking, when and how to trim a butterfly bush?
Okay, butterfly bushes, we let them stand through the winter. They will, in this area, normally die back clear to the ground, and I don't cut them back until I see the first little shoots coming up around the base of the plant in the spring.
Alrighty, and we're going to throw one more in before break. When can you transplant a azalea bush?
Azaleas.
Azalea.
Azaleas, I would wait until spring on azaleas at this point. They can be a little touchy, although they don't have a really huge root system. But right now, I'm not sure that I would be disrupting the root system just before we go into winter. That is a spring transplant.
And Karen, we're going to get to your question right after this break. But in the meantime, you can get your plant and garden questions in the comment section of the WQAD Facebook page on the Facebook Live. We'll be right back.